Hello to my beautiful family of light. Yes, that's you. You're courageous and wonderful people. Thank you for joining me here on my channel. My name is Claudia, and you're about to embark with me on my soul's journey to awareness. I'm about to begin episode 14, which begins, I believe, at age 38 is when I left the world I had known before and headed off on an adventure I did not know. I only knew where I was going, didn't have a home, didn't have a job. It was a set of instructions that had compelled me. And it was also my own inner knowing. There's an inner wisdom within us that had me, every time I went to look in the want ads for that town, or to look at what the industries were and those kinds of things, I was steered away from that. The reason being, I had been given guidance that this was something I needed to do. I did not know at that time that it was part of my soul's contract, and my foundational belief is you're a soul. We are all souls having this human experience, and the purpose behind it is that we learn to draw closer to our Creator and utilize all of the gifts, talents, and skills that He has embedded within us. It's right within our DNA, our cellular structure. Anyhow, as I'm beginning to embark on this journey, many things happen, and so let's get on with the story. It was a Saturday, and that prior week had been, I had really literally packed up everything, but now it was time to clear out the things that weren't going to be coming with me now that I knew my son wouldn't be coming along. I took his bedroom set and several of his toys and books and those kinds of things, because I knew even so he wasn't coming with me, he would be visiting. In fact, I would be bringing him out as often as I could. Once a mother, always a mother. That doesn't leave you. And my son and I always had a wonderful relationship. In fact, we still pretty much do. When you get to be adults and life changes along the way, then it isn't that you're not going to have some bumps in the roads that way too. But honest to goodness, we appreciate each other very much. Anyhow, it's Saturday. 3 of my brothers have come, and 2 of them were football players, another, I think, baseball. And so we're talking, loaded me up in the U-Haul and preparing me to leave, and I was on the road. I would say by 10:30 or 11, it was early in the morning. Most of the work had preliminarily already been accomplished. So I remember wishing that my son had been there, and his dad would not allow that. He was too afraid of me throwing him and blindfolding him, knocking him out, whatever it was, and taking him with me. But it had already been established that between my son and I, that he was of an age that if we went to court over it, the court would ask him what he wanted to do. And he had already said he would prefer to stay in what he already knew, with his friends, the band that was in, the football, all the different things that were familiar with him. I'm the adventure model in the family, and so I'll tell you that straight up. I came up with that several years later. It was pretty apparent that I'm not your standard housewife. Anyway, with that in mind, I looked in the rearview mirror. It was as if I wanted to see him standing there. And, but I could feel him thinking about me. And I looked at my brothers all waving as I turned that last corner before everybody disappeared. And it was a few miles before I got on the freeway. And I did that with excitement in me and those little bits of fleeting things that you wish could be, but can't. And so I just moved on, and I don't. At the time, I was so full of excitement that I couldn't. I was beside myself. So I get on Interstate 90. Remember, I'm living over in the, I guess it's the east side of Lake Washington, out of Seattle. And I get on Interstate 90, and I get up and over the first pass, which is, what's the name of it now? I don't even remember. You all probably snow call me. You all probably go skiing up there if you're from Washington. And I make it over the pass, and I'm paying, real close attention, and everything's going smoothly. And now I'm coming into some straight stretches where I won't be making any stops till I think I stopped in Ellensburg for fuel before I crossed the Columbia River. And I remember that, going through my mind was, I'm saying goodbye to all of these things that are familiar to me. I'll be coming back this way again. My family's here, holidays, birthdays, deaths, and all that stuff that you encounter along the way. So I knew I'd be coming back. It's just that I'm looking at this and making note of all of these little mile markers, if you want to call them that, in your own life. And I'm on my way. I'll spend the night in Spokane. It was a long trek, but by the time I crossed the Columbia and climbed up the other side onto the desert portion of Washington State, I was reminded of several things. So much runs through your mind, it's not possible for me to share everything. And I have a great more deal of detail in my book, but you can't share it all here. So I remember a couple of things. One of them was one of my last visits with my counselor, and she wanted to know what would life be like for me when I wasn't in chaos all the time, living in that, trying to reconcile and fix things and whatever else it was. And I remember that getting the divorce was one of the first things that brought me peace. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And to this day, it is sad for me to think about those individuals who had to go through that experience with me. You know as well as I do, when you make a life-altering decision, and a divorce is one, you're saying, I'm divorcing myself of you. Just all of these, the family things, the aunts and uncles, the cousins and whatnot. I'm hoping that my son will stay connected with them, and that will be my job to help him do that. I have no hard feelings, but there's no way for you to tell somebody, that we'll come to that later, that, it's best for everybody. I'm the only one it made any sense to, even though people know all along the way. So I spend the night in Spokane. I found a place that I could park under that was lighted. Everything was locked up. I did my once around. I go in. I didn't even really, I think I had, mostly snack type foods and fruits and things, but I wasn't hungry. I was so excited and anxious at the same time. When you start a journey that takes you into the unknown, it's that place at the stop sign where you've chosen to look behind you, to make note of what you're leaving. You must always remember where you came from. I don't care if you become successful or you're dying, but where you come from, is all the people who have paved steps for you, all the people who have lifted you up when you've scraped your knees. It's all of the things that our source has put before you. And I'm not tuned in to all of that. I just have had experiences, two pretty dramatic ones, granted, but until that point, it was other things that just led me to know something's going on here and I need to pay attention to it. But I didn't even know how to do that because it's a very still, small voice that when the soul is talking to you. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I can barely sleep and take off to head over across the next 4 passes. And believe there are 5 passes altogether between Washington and where I'm headed in Wyoming. And I get gas. I make sure I don't have coffee because I don't want to be stopping for restroom stops even. I want to just go to the next fuel up place and go from there. And on the way, then you begin reliving so much of your life, so much of the joy that you've been through, and so much of the grief and the changes that you've been through. Even your body goes through changes. You know, when you're not happy, the cells in your body collapse on themselves. When you're happy, they're open. You're animated. You can go sit on a bench in a park and watch, and you'll know which folks are happy and joyful or earnest, and you see which ones are just not happy at all. You can see it. It's a part of you, and you can experience it at work, at home, with your family, not with your family, with friends, but all of the different things that had happened to me in my 20s up to this point in my 30s. So we're looking at about 10 years for me to begin that process of getting out of the everything is still experiential, but it's not all about me anymore. And this is when I'm tapping into the inner me without knowing that that's what it is. So I'm starting this journey. I'm off getting up over the passes. I'm noticing all the beautiful country and how much drier it becomes. So it's just common things. But I will tell you in all sincerity, it was an easy and it was a hard thing to do. You have so much excitement about whatever the possibilities are that you're being presented with when guidance is saying, go do this. This is leading you to something new and it certainly is a departure from the norm for me. I'd never taken off. In fact, I only had in that marriage 1 or 2 vacations. My son and I used to take off for weekends and that sort of thing once in a while, but not even hardly a vacation. So this was like the height of freedom. Wings are spread and she's enjoying it. And you don't know what it is you're walking into. So there's that blank canvas again. I never thought of it like that, but I can look back on it like that now. What I want you to know is that when you begin a journey, which is taking that first step, it isn't necessarily going to be the easiest thing you do. And for me, it was easy because of there was excitement and momentum propelling me behind that. And you're getting farther away from what's familiar, and you're moving closer to what you haven't even a clue about where you're headed. And so, that's where I'm at. It's the one last glance at the brothers and knowing my son is thinking about me. It's the traveling down the road and really saying goodbye to a part of yourself that has been familiar. The work, all my comrades at work, and they threw a really big fun party. And you're stepping into the unknown. And the thing that I really want to impress you with is fear can hold you back, or it can free you if you don't let it stop you. If you allow to make yourself aware of the fear, and you can recognize that it's a fear because it's something you're not familiar with, then do it anyway. Start with small stuff. If you're not familiar with a particular store, but you've always been curious about it, go in that store. I've done all kinds of things that I turned around, walked out and said, this is not for me. And you can do that too. You're in charge. Instead of allowing the old familiar stuff to hold you back from experiencing what you're being nudged to open up to, then I want you to be courageous, bold, and go for it. So I make it to Cody that night, but I'm going to leave the story here, and we'll come back to it because there's some stuff begins to happen right away as soon as I'm nearing just the last 10 miles or so of my journey, and I'll share that with you in a bit. Thank you so much for joining me on this adventure. I know without a doubt that you have shared similar experiences. Now, you know, we're all different. We're all going to have different experiences, but the feelings are so important. And if you can connect with those when you're making your own notes about the journey, and you really ought to be, it's a catalyst for propelling you forward. Then that's what this entire process is about. I'm bearing my soul to you. I mean, I hope that you're getting something out of it. Something more than just, what happened to that crazy woman who's telling my family doesn't even know I'm doing this. I want you to know I'm going to be in big trouble when the time comes. But it's okay. It's not that I haven't been in trouble with them before and many others. So until we meet again, other things, how to reach me, and certainly you can leave messages and in the comments. Click on the description down below and you'll get how to reach me if you want privacy and or services. And until that next time, I hope you're remembering your own life's journey and that you are profoundly aware at this point that you've had help all along the way. And I want you to know that help will never leave you. It will never leave you. And I'm here too. I'm here to help you. So let me know if I can. And I love you. This is how much these arms go all the way around this planet. They embrace you, and I hope you can feel that energy of love that is coming at you. And I hope that until we meet again, that you will be well, you'll stay safe, you'll be happy, and that you will remember you're way more than you thought you were. I love you. Till next time.